A pleasant good evening to you all. I'm Shane Harris, bringing you, well, an episode of Shane Harris Tonight, number 16, that happens to be a week behind. You can thank my production assistant for completely forgetting how to print. So, we have our thoughts and prayers coming up to what happened down in Alexandria, Virginia, right outside of D.C., and also literally just a few minutes after I started filming this episode, a plane just crashed in northeastern Philadelphia. A small Learjet, based on what I heard from WPVI. So our thoughts and prayers are to them as well. Tonight's episode of Shane Harris Tonight is going to be a bit dark. This cartoon in question, coming out of France, has a pretty dark start. And its drama and high intensity has what made this series so popular there, and it's what made it so pretty decent here in the States that there's a nice little following to it. So bust out the yellow gloves and kickstart your vehicles. We're talking OBAN Star Racers tonight. So, this is not your average French descent anime. This project is a cooperative project between France Television, who runs France 3, plus a co-production alongside Japan's Bandai Visual, aka Emotion, and it is also a project that's produced alongside Disney's Jetix unit. Yes, that Jetix. So, apparently, Saban Yateman Eiffel, I believe that's how it's pronounced, came up with this idea about having a Japanese-influenced kind of series being produced by the French. And he came out with this nice little pilot that you, in my comment not my comment section, but my community tab, my posts section, should I say, that's now labeled as the community tab or post section, where I posted the little pilot for this series. It may not make sense, but when the main TV show came out in 2006, to the tune of just 26 episodes and one storyline-driven arc from start to finish, you'll realize that this is pretty interesting. And the dogs hear people across the street. Nice. Anyway, this series features Chiara Zani, a Canadian voice actress and former star of CBC's Edgemont, which aired briefly on MeTV in the US in the mid-2010s, playing this character. Her name is Ava Way, who in the year 2082, when the series takes place, is 15 years old. I can feel the Leo Brent Basel III kind of people out there complaining about why the hell she's got melons and a whole lot of belly button. Well, come on. This is 2006. You can get away with a whole lot back then. But this series did get a few edits, primarily due to the violence and some suggestive language.
Shane.
Filming! And, by the way, that's my production assistant right there. You just heard. Filming! Yeah, my production assistant does ask a whole lot of questions. Hold on a minute. I'm filming!
What?
Filming!
Oh.
Sorry, folks, I'm not doing any retakes because tonight was supposed to be my street football / Foodaroo episode, which, by the way, has been pushed back to tomorrow night.
Yeah, darling.
So, guess what? You come back here tomorrow night, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern, then you'll be in for a nice ride. Because, Hey, back-to-back nights and talking about descent anime français. I like that. Anyway, Kyorazani plays Ava Way, who, in 2082, decides to become part of Don's top-of-the-line racing program, in which she gets to drive the Whizzing Arrow, alongside a gunner by the name of Jordan. This guy with the half-and-half hair. And apparently, this is where it gets dark. 10 years prior to 2082, Ava was only 5 when she saw her mother perish in a race with these floating vehicles that have weapons on it and stuff. So, determined to bring her back to life, because sci-fi, and also determined to bring herself to victory and bring good feelings back, she decides that years later, she would honor her by becoming the next in line to be a driver. And guess what? It happened. But in order to conceal her identity, she finds this poster, which has the English name of Molly, so she would adopt that as her code name. And here I thought that was just a name exclusive to the Anglophonics, but apparently, no. It's Ava everywhere, and Molly's just her code name. And on top of battling for the checkered flag and also winning the Great Race of Oban, there is a whole lot of fights, both verbal and physical. Some equipped with the finest of weapons and vehicles going well in excess of 250 kilometers an hour. Yes, kilometers, 'cause France. The series, however, had 3 different theme songs, by the way. One by some band in Los Angeles that disbanded when I was in middle school. One was a theme that was exclusive to the French, and one that was done for the Japanese airings. That one, Chance to Shine by Aquino, happens to be my favorite of the 3. And speaking of Japanese singers, Ava is played in Japan by Yunko Noda, who happens to have a huge resume in terms of amount of characters she's performed in Japan and internationally, and also she's done a lot of different songs here and there. One of her soundtracks was even distributed by Konami, of all people, so kind of interesting. Kind of interesting to say the least. Now, this series did get a few edits, like I said, due to some suggestive content, primarily violence and lingual based, but luckily those edits are not found on the DVD and Blu-ray releases of the series. Us Americans, unfortunately, only got the DVD release, which came out in the year 2006 or 7 maybe, which was also carried over in places like the UK, France, and the Netherlands. But the Blu-ray was the most hyped up, because there was a Kickstarter campaign that the creator launched, so every episode could get remastered into HD quality with the original 4:3 presentation. And apparently, they raised a little over 350,000 euros, or the equivalent of $410,000 American, and the Blu-ray for OBAN Star Racers, the series, was finally released to the public. But it is only for use in Europe, because not much Americans pitched into it, and obviously the dollar count was in euro. For the Blu-ray release, based on what I've read via press releases, they had 11 dub languages, including, surprisingly, a European Portuguese and a Polish dub to the mix, which is pretty interesting to say the least, because you rarely get Portuguese and Polish as dubbed languages on home media these days. You only get it subtitled in the PAL region of the world. So, kudos to them, but I'm kind of disappointed that it didn't come to the States, because it would have been nice. But the Blu-ray does have regional codes that are numerical instead of just PAL and NTSC. So, yeah. Yep, the series aired on Jetix in several territories worldwide, including here in the States through ABC Family, now known as Freeform. And this, alongside The Weekenders, are the only two shows that are given a 8.0 rating on IMDb. They both share the top spot out of all the competitors that are representatives of Shane Harris Tonight. Anyway, it's time to shut off the engine, because we got another episode of Shane Harris Tonight coming up tomorrow evening, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, which unfortunately is in the middle of the Royal Rumble in Indianapolis, the world center of speed and the home of Indy's most famous event for everyone there, the Indianapolis 500, finally, for the first time ever on Fox. Hope you guys tune in. Of course, tomorrow we'll be switching from motorsports, and we will discuss soccer. Yeah, soccer for once. Because what's not to love about the City of Brotherly Love becoming one of the sites for the World Cup, which is being shared by the US, Canada, and Mexico, coming very soon. And what's a better candidate for Shane Harris Tonight than a series that is very well developed and pretty interesting. That series is Foot de Rue, also known to the Anglophonics as Street Football. And these two, you think these are different cartoons? Well, think again. We'll explain why tomorrow. But for now, I'm Shane Harris. We'll see you tomorrow night for episode 17 of my program. Take care and good night.